Go with the urgent, as Bobby says, right? We're on. Okay. Good evening, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the Hazmat Guys Nation Roundtable. This is a multimedia platform to bring hazmat response information and training tips from hazmat members from around the globe. I'm Jason Rogers, and I will be acting as the host of the show for tonight. I'm joined by Bob Kosh and Bobby Salveson. What's up, fellas?
Hello, 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 hello.
Living the dream over here, baby.
You're, Bobby, you're in the bunker, right?
I am buried 24 feet under fertile soil. It is a little chilly down here, but we're going to remedy that problem with a little fire. Hopefully I won't carbon monoxide out the family. But we got all the rations. We're a big prepper family.
Nice.
Not really at all.
He's got the most important thing, booze, I'm sure.
I do. You know, right?
Yeah. Hey, see, there you go. That a baby.
And Kosh, looks like you're at work today.
Yes, another 24 hours.
But it doesn't look like your normal lieutenant.
No. I am on an engine company in the downtown corridor for the remaining, I don't know what I got, 11 and a half hours.
Awesome.
Yep.
So we talked about doing some PPE stuff. I looked up some news articles from Haz Mat Nation this week, and you want to just get right into it?
Do it.
All right. First up, Dateline, New Jersey. So, Bobby, we're up in your neck of the woods here. Lakewood, to be exact. A 19-year-old man's suicide attempt prompted an investigation by the county hazmat team as well as federal authorities. Police say that the unidentified teen tried to take his own life by ingesting a poisonous substance that he claimed to be ricin. Police said that he later changed his mind, vomited, and went to the hospital to seek treatment. Officials say that preliminary test results showed that evidence of castor beans was present. Was one of the ingredients used to make the ricin, but the substance itself was not ricin to be found. Lakewood officials called the state police, the FBI Joint Terrorism Task Force, to investigate the incident, and the teen apparently was cleared by poison control, but remains in the hospital. So let's talk a little bit about ricin. Is that exotic or what?
You know, it can be that, you know, in Florida anyway, we've got castor beans growing all over the place. In fact, years ago we had we'll call him a youngster, set his mattress on fire. I think I talked about this on one of the other shows. What's that?
That's such a fuddy-duddy thing to say.
Isn't it? You like that? I'm a youngster. I'm an old fuddy-duddy. But he accidentally set his bedroom on fire. Through this Wiccan religion thing he was doing. I think we talked about this in earlier episodes, and when it was all said and done, we found some white powders in a big pickle jar, mason jar, full of mashed up castor beans, and he was making ricin, or getting the process started, I should say. Right.
I mean, we know that the ricin is produced from castor beans, and I remember this thing really hit a high point when Breaking Bad. Remember that TV show Breaking Bad? They started talking about ricin. You know, towards the end, whatever the character, I don't remember, Jesse and Walt were talking about using ricin, and people are looking into this. But we had an incident in the vicinity, we'll say, of New York City, where there was some people that were allegedly making ricin. They had the castor beans being grown. They had the facilities to make them. But castor beans is more of a toxin, right? I mean, we're talking about something that's going to have some type of operation on the biochemistry of the body. It's some bad stuff. I mean, it doesn't take very much to do it, but it takes a lot to do it right, to make it right.
Right. Yeah, it's not an easy process.
Yeah, that's I think where this young man went wrong. Probably had some second thoughts or whatnot. So let's put ourselves on this call, Bobby. How about you be the research guy, the tech guy, or whatever, and and I'll throw the incident at you, and you and Bob, you can chime in with incident command stuff sitting from the seat. So let's say you get this suicide attempt claiming to be a Ricin. What are you thinking? First do.
All right. So first do. Let's say what, I'm going to say that I don't know the chemical and physical properties of this. Now listen, for the show I did a little bit of background, but let's say I don't know. Ricin, holy cow, Ricin. This is the real deal. That's what I'm thinking about. I'm riding into the rig. Is it a liquid, solid? Is it a gas? I don't know what it is. Where do I look this up? Can I look it up in the NIOSH and the ERG? What do I do? Well, you can look it up. Actually, I'm looking up in the NIOSH. So let's look it up in the NIOSH. Let's see. I'm going to do this in real time because I wanted to flip off of this thing, and I'm almost sure it's in here. Ricin. R-I. Right. And it's not in there. Crap. Back to square one. It's like Wile E. Coyote. All right. Well, where else?
But being that great hazmat guy that you are,
yes,
that has a NIOSH book and has a wealth of resource material at his fingertips.
Yeah. I would honestly,
Wiser.
I would go to Wiser.
Wiser, exactly.
Right, no kidding. I just did, no joke, 4 classes on the new ERG 2016. And what all the instructor coordinators wanted me to do was not to only to talk about the new updates for 2016, was the new technologies that are out there, the Wiser. And in Wiser, there are some amazing tools that nobody really plays with, like Chem with CHEMM, where
right,
signs and symptoms of people coming out, and it will narrow down what you have. If you don't know about this stuff, by all means, go and play around with Wiser. But anyway, I would type in Ricin into Wiser. So I'm going to do that right now on my real phone. Don't call me. Calling me. I'm not going to pick up the phone.
Somebody's calling to give you feedback from the podcast.
Jason, let's call him real quick.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, a little input on the side. I've got Ray Bramble, who's an avid show watcher, sent me this message. He said, Ricin's easy to get the recipe off of the internet, harder to make effective outside the laboratory setting, but it can be done. So, I kind of went old school. As Bobby's looking this up with the new technology, I went old school and went to the CDC.
Yeah, you can do that.
There's a ton of stuff there.
It's electronically. So I'm saying, I think one of the biggest things for a resource science research guy is to, back when I came into special operations, all the guys knew where to find everything in a paper book. And that was like the mark of success. When you knew where you go, that was like, this guy's made it. But now, nobody knows it anymore. And guys talk about soft targets and hard targets and software, electronics that are hardened or softened. The stuff that we have in our hazmat rigs, whether it's an iPad or a laptop, is soft. If an EMP hits of whatever magnitude, it's going to disable us. And so if you don't know how to work paper, you have a problem.
Very true.
Right? So I would say, listen, I just got disabled by the NIOSH. It's not in there. Now, not everything's in there. What is it, like 766 chemicals on the NIOSH, which is nice. But the Chris has a different amount. And the one for agricultural, I can't think of the name of it. It's something, agricultural thing. That is another one. But I am in on Wiser, and it says it's a solid powder. It's whitish, and that's all I really need. I've made it my determination already.
There you go.
So your determination for PPE?
PPE is going to be a Tyvek F. It's going to be some type of dust protective covering. I'm going to be wearing SCBA because, you know what, I don't pay for the air. I can go with APRs, but I don't expect to be in there for 5 hours.
Well, now, are we talking first due on the scene or hazmat tech?
You know what, even so, let's say it's an engine company, they're going to back out immediately, so time distance shielding is going to be on their side.
Right.
So they're going to have their bunker gear. They're going to have to get deconned because more than likely when they open the door or they walk through this place, they started that cyclone of crap going around in the thing. They're going to have to get deconned, and probably they're going to have to go for medical evaluation and then contamination reports for each member. That would be the smart move.
Right.
The exposure report.
Absolutely. And you know, one thing to mention is, and we've mentioned this in several of the shows, your incident command staff, if you know you don't have somebody that has come up through the special ops ranks, so to speak, honestly, and not to knock anybody, the average incident commander is probably going to panic.
Yeah.
When he hears the word Ricin, he's gonna be, holy shit, you know, what do we and the whole world's going to get called in.
Yep.
Blocks and blocks are going to get cordoned off. But is that really needed? Is that necessary?
No reality.
I'm going to say no. I mean, in this particular incident, they cordoned off the side of the street, and that was it. I'm going to play devil's advocate with Bobby for just a second. I'm going to say I'm not necessarily going to go with the SCBA. I would maybe think about a PAPR or APR, and I personally would be comfortable with that. I would be comfortable making that decision with my entry guys, because I think there is a little bit more investigative things to maybe go in there. I have seen it be a little bit of a challenge sometimes bringing guys out when we're not necessarily done doing recon. So then you got to decon them, then you got to, you know, you're changing out air, then you're either sending 2 new guys in to finish the recon who don't have the same set of eyes that you know, we're seeing things for the first time, and you're trying to communicate. And I mean, that's why I like the PAPR. I can go in there, and as long as my battery's good, I'm good. So I personally am comfortable with that, but you know.
Let me explain 2 things of why I selected that. First off, I am from a fire department that has, we have so many cylinders we give them away to pedestrians when we walk down the street. I mean, no joke, I think they have a sign in the mass service unit that was that they filled the most cylinders in one calendar year in the entire world. It was something like 1.4 million cylinders or something like that. It was something retarded. But we have a joke in New York that we don't pay for the air, use it. So guys, I'm sure in same in Bob's, maybe not so much in the EMS world, but we have putting the SCBA on our back is a very comfortable thing. We get used to that weight. You get used to that restriction, whatever it might be. It's more work for me to tell a fireman to put on the PAPR or the APR than it is to put on the SCBA. It's almost like knee-jerk for them to put that on. So what happens if I have to keep them in past that 20, 30, 40-minute, whatever, let's say 30 minutes, guys in the 40-minute zone. What happens if I got to go past it? Well, I can put him off immediately into something with a pigtail, with a confined space pigtail, where I can give him supplied air. Or I can do something a little more risky, but I'm not going to say it's not done out there, a hot swap. Did you guys ever do that?
Yeah.
Where you say 1, 2, 3, hold your breath, and I, like a NASCAR changer, I swap out your cylinder. And if the guy sucks, you got a problem. So you got to have the A-team behind you. But I've seen it done. I mean, it works. I'm not gonna. You know what? That is probably not something to say on.
Teach that.
No,
don't try this at home, kids.
I would recommend maybe a quick regulator swap out.
Yeah.
With fast pack.
Like a rip pack or
Rip pack, yeah.
Rip pack or anything like that.
Yeah.
SCBA, and then we kind of, you know, we give the old alcohol swab to the gasket, and 1, 2, 3 up, boom, and no breathing while that happens. That would work. I think that would be sufficient.
Well, I can speak to that only because we train SCBA, so we're really comfortable. Most of our guys are firefighters in one form or fashion or of another. But the thing is, being a medically based team, our guys are really comfortable in the APRs and PAPRs because that's what's done in hospital. So, you know, we train as much time. There's some new ones out there that are phenomenal. In fact, we're getting ready to do some testing, and I'll probably be sharing some of that data on Haz Mat Nation. So we'll look for that in the future. But I just want to throw that in there and maybe be a little bit argumentative. I hate to bow down to Bobby all the time. So
but you know,
I'm just kidding.
In all reality, Ricin is not a big deal unless you start. To be honest with you, the probability of some knucklehead in his apartment grinding this up to the point where it's so talc-like light that it stirred up with us just walking through the place is minimal. I mean, we're not talking about kids weaponizing Ricin.
Right.
Kids making like freaking like flour, which, well, not even, I'm saying like almond flour, where you throw it up and it immediately falls to the ground. It's like a crappy party. You know, it's a terrible operation. You know, like, so. But this is a problem, and these people, like Jason said, you mentioned this on the radio, people freak out. News is coming in because they heard that in a scanner, and people are going to make a big deal about this.
Oh yeah. I mean that call we had was a day and a half, a major road shutdown, and black SUVs and people with initials showing up, and then people actually not even telling us who the hell they were. So.
And in reality, it's going to be, you're going to probably wear a different level of PPE than you really should because of the PR factor.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, like, you're going to be like, well, we should really just wear Tyvek Fs or whatever, some type of, a dust garment. They're like, listen, we got to put on the level A's. We're like, whoa. I'm putting on level A's. We got to make it look good. No. Because slip, trips, and falls go up astronomically when I put on that level A.
Right.
You know?
Absolutely. Well, and it's like any other powder call, really. I mean, like from a hazmat tech side, we got our air monitors. As long as I got the good O2, I'm pappering. It's papper.
I'm down.
So.
All right. Good game. Let's move on. This one comes from across the pond. In the United Kingdom, a truck has spilled its load of sulfuric acid on the M6 motorway, causing the closure of the Autobahn. Right? The Warwickshire Fire and Rescue Service was called at 2. This is how they type it: 5:2 a.m. and advised the motorway needed to be closed from one junction to the next. A spokesman said it is believed that the truck is carrying 20 containers, each holding 1,440 liters, and I did the math, that's 380 gallons of sulfuric acid, and one of them had tipped over and spilled. It's leaking out of the truck onto the roadway. Fire crews confirmed that 1,400 liters, or 369 gallons, of sulfuric acid had actually leaked from the vehicle and was located on the hard shoulder of the roadway. Crews are using gas-tight suits, is what was described in the news article, and carrying out a survey on the vehicle itself. The contamination zone was approximately 10 square meters, which is 107 feet, if you want to know, and looks like the roadway was opened up in about an hour. So we're looking at 370 gallons-ish of sulfuric acid.
All right.
So, Bobby, you're on the hazmat truck. Well, you're pulling up. What are you thinking? What are you doing?
Looking for it right now. Hold on a second.
Okay. So, Kosh, how about this? You're the officer pulling in. Let's say it's 5 o'clock in the morning. It's cool. What is it down in Orlando? Like 79 degrees at 5 a.m.
112.
Yeah, and in January.
So, what are you asking as you're going to this?
I'm gonna pull up, and I'm gonna go, why the hell did I take this for the engine company? No, as soon as we get to dispatch, and well, I'm sure with everybody else, you get X amount of information from dispatch, and you got to kind of put the pieces of the puzzle as you're rubbing the sleep out of your eyes and trying to shake the cobwebs out of your head. So I'm starting to think about, okay, where am I going? What information do I already have? What am I reading on my screen in front of me if you're fortunate enough to have a data terminal in front of you? Which way is the wind going? I'm going to ask for wind speed and direction. A key to that is when you ask for wind speed and direction, depending on what your protocol is, your system that you have in use, If I ask for wind speed and direction, they're going to give it to me from Orlando International Airport. Well, that doesn't do me any good because I'm on the northwest side of the city, probably 25 miles from the airport. So what I need to do is ask them for the readings from a local weather station, if you will. A lot of departments have weather stations at their station. We actually have that in my area where I could pull it up on our map and see what the local weather is right where I'm at. But if I don't have that kind of thing, as I'm approaching, I'm going to be looking at maybe trees, flags, anything that's blowing in the wind that I can see. I can get an actual visual locally so that I can then relay to the other units coming in. And you don't have to be a hazmat tech to think this way. This is just basic operational level response. How am I going to approach a scene, the proper side of the wind, making sure I'm not endangering myself or my crew. From that, and as we mentioned in some of the earlier episodes, every unit should have a pair of binoculars on their rig. If you don't have it, go to an Army surplus store and buy them, or Walmart or Kmart or wherever mart, and buy some. I'm not talking little tiny opera glasses. Unless you're into that kind of thing, it's fine. But at least get some binoculars, your ERG, and you can at least do a basic size up, minimum of 350 feet or so. That's awesome.
Like that?
That's it, baby. Colonel Clink.
I got it.
I see Hogan's Heroes right there. That's awesome.
There you go. I got it. I see it.
Nice. There it is. And right there, looking through that, it tells you to stay, 330 feet away.
Yep. I got it.
The cheater.
It's awesome.
So let's get back to, all right, so I'm going to go through the science of this thing because I'm on research, but then I'm going to make my recommendation of what we got here. Sulfuric acid. I'm looking at NIOSH, and you can look along with me as we look through this. I'm looking through these things, and it says it's battery acid, it's oil of vitriol, sorry. But what I'm really kind of keying in on is IP, there's nothing. Vapor pressure is 0.001, means it's not going to be coming off to get me. There's no LEL, UEL. Shit, there's nothing going on here. This is not a big deal. But I go down to incompatibilities and reactivities and it says anything that's organic, that's me. That's a problem right there. Listen, all those things above the molecular and chemical, physical properties, all can be great. But I see that organic materials, aka me, that's a problem. It reacts violently with water, with the evolution of heat. Well, evolution of water is in humidity. It's in the air. It's everywhere. So this is a little bit more than meets the eye with sulfuric acid. So here's my play. I'm getting out of rig. I'm going to be wearing full bunker gear, hood, collar, flaps, everything. SCBA, gloves, the whole game. I'm going in there with my 5-gas meter. I'm going in with my my thermal gun. My thermal gun is probably one of my keys.
But if you go in with your meter, you're going to burn your meter up.
Don't care.
That's the classic argument, though.
Don't care.
Exactly. Don't care. Right.
I don't care because I want to know if flammability, because some of these gases, and maybe not this one in specifics, but some of these gases are not only toxic but also flammable. And,
correct.
Well, it's going to be it's going to be corrosive and flammable. Well, you're going to burn the meter. I don't care.
Right. Cost of doing business.
Cost of doing business, baby. That's this way we're going to. But you know what? I'm going to have, let's say on my left sleeve, I'm going to have, let's say 4 or 5 pH papers on tape with water. And on my right sleeve, I'm going to have 4 or 5 pH papers on tape without water. Now, the pH papers that we use react dry or wet, and they do give them different indication. But some people do not. Some pH papers do not do that. So you have to look at your own. But anyway, the wet one's going to pick up before the dry one. So I'm going to kind of keep my hands out in front of me, and I'm looking left, right, left, right, left, right. And if I see one hit, I stop and I back up. That's my threshold. And maybe I want to throw a chair or a marker there, but that's it. I don't move any further. We can always change our level of PPE at any point to suit our needs. I hit the threshold. That's the end of it.
Exactly.
Right?
Yep. Right on.
Let's say I got right up to the thing. I could put the cap back on. Then that's it. It's Miller time. It's over. But if I hit the front door and it changes pH paper, I'm done. I got to kick it up a notch. That's it.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
That's how PPE works, guys.
And that brings up a good point. That's a very simplistic way of doing it, and we overdo things. So much so to, I think, our detriment.
Yeah. Everything's, if everything, that's the question we get a lot, is, well, you have this. Why don't you just put on level A's? Because level A's are, first off, a pain in the ass. I mean, listen, we put on our SCBA, we put on PAPR, we put on APR. First off, I lost my sense of smell. I lost my sense of taste. Right? 2 senses of the 5 are gone. I always retain my spidey sense, but that's just me. But now we put on the level A, and I minimize. Now, not only do I have here, but now I have this other layer in front of me, and I can't see anything. I can't hear nothing, and I have lost of all tactile ability. So I've dulled at minimum all 5 of my senses, and now you expect me to go out there and do something that's arduous to the best and say something, listen, bro, this is so bad, you might not make it back. And put that stress on a guy, and then throw him into Florida heat at 105 degrees and tell him, listen, while you're in there, stew on it.
Yeah.
Hey, the bunt.
Yeah.
It's not. We try to limit. No bullshit. We have done, to the best of my recollection, we've done in New York City Fire Department. We've done 5 level A entries in 5 years.
Yeah, it's just not that common.
Because when you really look at the way you get the PPE and you break it down to nuts and bolts and you don't flex to those people that say, well, it's PR or let's knee-jerk reaction right to that level A suit. If you got guys that are competent and can make good, solid moves based upon science, you can go with that B, C, D, and I'm saying D meaning bunker gear, consistently and be right.
Yep, I agree 100%.
Sorry.
Right. No, I like it. It's good. I mean, it makes a lot of sense, and I think you're right on the money. I mean, a lot of time is it A, overreaction from incident commanders, or B, is it driven by the media and the public?
Well,
this time level A.
Right, absolutely. And here's a real simple, a natural gas leak. You got a 2-inch gas line cut or something like that. How many departments go in the hole with bunker gear and SCBA, or how many departments allow their guys to wear a Nomex jumpsuit, Nomex hood, Nomex gloves, and go in there and handle it?
Yeah.
We went that route for a while, and then things shifted where commander said you have to wear bunker gear and SCBA, and it wasn't until we educated them, the non-hazmat guys, hey, this is actually better because now our gear isn't saturated. We're not carrying it around in the truck with us, yada 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 yada. So
that you know what? Sometimes it takes a guy to say you can't see the forest from the trees. Why don't we just do the operations level, which is remote shutoffs, and just shut off the left and the right, and be leaking itself.
Yep.
And get it in the hole.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly.
What else?
All right. We got
Okay. Here we go. We're going to continue with the international theme in New Zealand. Now this one's a little bit different. So authorities have discovered and here we are with the metric system again, 2,818 kilograms or 6,212 pounds of toxic materials on a property in Christchurch. I'm not going to get this right, but Hawthorne Valley, New Zealand. Chemicals including caustic soda, paints, Agrochemicals such as the banned pesticide DDT have been discovered. Now, this area was struck by massive earthquakes in 2010 and then again in February 2011. The 2011 earthquake alone killed 185 people. 169 of them died in this central zone, and they call it a red zone there. The day after the earthquake, the government declared it a state of national emergency, and they basically kept everybody out of this area till April 30th of that year. So, massive, massive stuff. And in the article, it talks about, the mall was basically crumbled and people were killed there. People were killed in automobiles and buses and all that sort of stuff. So all this stuff, they're trying to I guess they're trying to mitigate this and turn it back into some agricultural areas and things. So they're doing some testing and soil samples, and as they are doing that, they've discovered this massive dump site. So you've got all this stuff, 6,000 pounds of mixed chemicals. So maybe you don't know what you're dealing with here. So what do you think? Your construction, nice day. Let's say it's today. It's 75 degrees. It's noon, and you get the call that a bulldozer crew has uncovered barrels and cans and stuff. What are your thoughts? All right, good talk.
I'm listening to you and trying to answer a question we had pop up here as well. So you've got a lot of. Were they treating any of this as unknowns?
I think they treated a multiple plethora of stuff of unknowns, because it sounded like they had carboys and 55-gallon drums and it just sounds like they unearthed essentially a dump spot that maybe was something that they pushed a house in, or who knows. It wasn't that specific, but it sounds like they had had the civil investigators, I believe is what they called them, to come out and look at, oh, hey, we've uncovered this stuff, and then the fire service was called. So,
gotcha.
It's imagine a pit of 100 unknowns all mixed together.
That's going to be a very bad day. Real quickly, just to answer one question, Derek Shaman, who just sent me a text, he's watching us through YouTube, as are several other people, cannot chime in and ask questions. I think, guys, that's because you have to like us on Google+.
Yes.
That's the way to be able to ask us questions and get answers, unless you happen to be a lucky person like Derek and have my cell phone number and text me.
You can bugger off.
Yeah, then that's it. So yeah, Google+, the Haz Mat Guys Nation Roundtable. You'll also get the alerts for the show, and you'll be able to ask questions and whatnot. So getting back to the topic at hand, so let's go with the how far are we going to stay back? First arriving unit on scene pulls up. You've got a smorgasbord of mess, yuck, goo.
Exactly.
I'm going to use the term. My first thought is, what are the canaries doing?
Well, you know what? The best place to find out how far to stay back, you can go to the ERG. But
yeah.
I can tell you right off the bat, solid 75. What is it? Liquids 150 and gas is 300.
Right.
What's up?
God, he's a walking encyclopedia. Actually, sitting encyclopedia.
Hey, don't let him lie. He's got this right here.
Cheating.
Yeah. You know what? I'm gonna let everybody in on a secret. There's a secret out there. 95% of all the scenes that we go to are unknown, and we leave them as unknown. Right? The mystique of hazmat is that when hazmat gets there, they're going to do this type of magical crap they're going to mix some pixie dust and wave their wands, and they're going to tell us exactly what it is. That is not the truth. That almost never happens. I'm telling you, it's like, it is a rarity that we actually identify things. With the technology that's coming up, yeah, we're able to do some things, but in all reality, and I know I'm going to offend some of the meter manufacturers out there, but We put their stuff through it and comes up with item not known or 16 hours for a result. Or,
Right.
you know what I'm saying. So with DDT and all this mixing of stuff, here's my move. Okay, I get off the rig with my standard firefighting ensemble of hood up, collar, flaps, gloves, the whole thing. SCBA on my back, SCBA on my face, my wet 4 pH on my right, my dry 4 on my left, and I'm going to have my standard first line meters out there. It's going to be my 5 gas, maybe my AP4C, which is more of a chemical warfare agent. Yeah, I might go with an IMS if I'm feeling a little saucy. But again, I go with where I feel like. I kind of contour this thing. IMS would probably be pretty good. Mass spec, not really for this. So I would go in there, and as soon as anything triggers, I stop. And I back up. That's really, guys, this is really what it comes down to.
Damn it, we had everybody fooled for all these years.
I know we're probably upsetting the base, but really that's what it comes down to. My pH is going to trigger on my arm left and right. My flammability is going to trigger on my 5 gas. My oxygen depression is going to trigger on my 5 gas. My IMS is super sensitive to catch anything that's going to be in that area. And maybe my PID will catch everything that's going to be that char, that organic type stuff that's going to be flammable. With that information, I can make decisions. That's it. I mean, really, there is no right answer to this because I don't know the proximity and the quantities and the mixing levels. Is it? Oh, one more I forgot. The thermal gun. I want to see if it's reactive.
Right. Yeah, and you got the thermal gun or thermal imaging camera.
Works just as good. But
yeah.
I think I've said this once. I'll say it again. The thermal imaging camera is a reference point. The
Correct.
Thermal gun says it's 90.
Exactly.
And
right.
I've seen this in fires all the time. Guys put the thermal gun and go, that's hot. Open the wall. It's hot compared to the rest of the wall. Put your hand up. Your hand is 98 degrees. Use your hand as reference. Is it colder than your hand or hotter than your hand?
Right.
Reference.
Right. And once we get up to this, we've got our starting point where in our bunker gear and SCBA, what's the mission now? You've gotten up to a point where now you can recon it, and maybe you can see, take pictures. You can whatever.
Thank you. The recon is key because everything that Jason's thrown to us has been, well, is this one outside or inside, Jay?
It's outside. It was an outside dig, and
all right. So
so your atmosphere, you're good. I mean,
when I have an outside, I'm a little more relaxed. When I have something inside, I almost, in my mind, and don't hold me to this because some guys, the mad typers, are gonna be like, well, that's not correct. In my mind, almost everything doubles. It gets twice as bad because I'm in a confined space. But when I'm outside, if I'm coming up to this thing and I go, holy crap, all my pH paper just changed. I back up, switch my pH, go around 180 degrees, go from the other side of it, and I'm going to come in again. And if I don't get anything, I might be able to walk right up to that thing and turn the valve or whatever it is because the wind was working at my back. And that might be all that you need. So like on the windward side where I'm getting into a mush, it's a level A. I go around to the other side, I can be in shorts and a t-shirt.
Right.
So it doesn't have to be. Listen, you gotta think. You gotta think.
Yeah, and like you mentioned, it all comes down to recon. So we've gotten up to the edge, we've looked over into the abyss, and went, oh, you know what? There's a lot of shit down there. And what's the next mission? Okay, are we going to be sampling, or are we just taking pictures, gathering some basic atmospheric sampling where we're at, and now we go back to the incident command and we go, okay, now what do you want me to do? Okay, well maybe, what'd you see? Did you see liquid spilling? We need to grab a sample from that. Did you see a powder over here? Maybe we need to get a, so there might be multiple types of samples: liquids, solids, gases. Obviously, you're probably not going to do. You're outside unless it's something that's heavier in air, and then your instrumentation will be picking it up. So you're really going to be dealing with a small amount of types of samples, if you will, solids or liquids, and it's going to be a slow, unfortunately, methodical process. It's just like when we going back to meth labs for a second, we go in and we find 5, 6, 7 unknown liquids. Well, we have to test each one of those. You're taking a sample. It's not. I'm sorry, people. Hazmat isn't fast, and I get joked with all the time. Oh, Jesus, hazmat's here. We're going to be here for a couple hours. Well, sorry. Go do something different with your life. I don't know what to tell you.
Overtime when the tour changed. It's beautiful.
Yeah, exactly.
No, but that's the truth. But at least where I work, once I say this is not a life safety issue, generally we take up. We're done.
Right.
The cleanup company's issue. That's their job. I mean, like, they mediate this. They bill out. They crush these people. I deal with life safety. I deal with the firemen, the public, and after that, I don't really care.
Yeah, we don't. Depending on what we're dealing with, we'll do some overpacking and some stuff. But it all depends what we're dealing with and whether or not it's something we need to handle or not. You guys are obviously a little bigger agency, so you guys have more opportunities to turf it off onto somebody else. But we try to leave it with a contractor if at all possible. But it depends if Barney Fife shows up in a pickup truck in a 5-gallon bucket or not.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think it's important to say too that that's all jurisdictional. Everybody's going to handle that their own way, their own SOPs, SOGs, that sort of thing. We're a smaller department than both you guys, and we're going to do some overpacking. But I think the theory for us is just don't make it worse. The mitigation company's coming. They're going to be they're 3 hours out. As long as we're not putting water on things we shouldn't put water on, or mixing the stuff just to get a sample, don't create a life safety problem just because you're trying to work the wizard magic. So like I said, in this scenario, I thought it was interesting because it was such a plethora of chemicals, and you don't see that very often. And to me, it was like a knee-jerk, probably construction response. Oh my God, we've uncovered the tomb of the biochem lab, that sort of thing. And,
did they find Gerardo Rivera there?
They found the money. Geraldo wasn't there, but they found the money.
Al Capone's what was that?
The vault, Chicago. Yeah.
The vault.
That was. Dude, we're dating ourselves. That's like. That's
awesome.
That was great because there was so much. They played up to that. There was like a week-long advertisement. And they opened the vault, and it's a donut. Nothing.
And they knew it. They knew it.
Yeah. Dumbasses.
I missed that. I missed the movie Goonies.
Goonies. You guys pushed me to watch Wedding Crashers the other day.
Oh, see?
That was awesome. Yeah, thanks. Mom, what are you doing? All right. I've got another one here. Let's move this on here. An employee at a local business spilled about 25 gallons of an unknown chemical while unloading a truck yesterday afternoon. This happened in Flagstaff, Arizona. Report comes from the Flagstaff Fire Department, a battalion chief, 3 engines, a Quint, and that's a ladder engine fire truck as described in the article. And the department's hazardous materials special operations unit, that's a mouthful, arrived at the Armor self-storage around 1 p.m. to find a pallet that was being unloaded from a semi-truck had fallen over and spilled onto the ground. 2 Flagstaff firefighter hazardous materials technicians donned protective gear and inspected the site, while other firefighters started setting up an emergency decontamination site, good call, and looked for the SDS, the data sheets to identify the chemicals, and they did locate them. They found it to be a chlorine bleach detergent. The safety data sheets, or SDS, some of you still may call them the MSDS, still hear that a good bit, were located in the truck, and the hazmat personnel was able to use a heavy-duty absorbent material to clean up and dispose of the spill. Let me try this screen share thing for a momento, and see if you can see the scene. It's got a good picture here. Screen share. We're going to try this. We're going to do this, and do you see it?
Yeah.
Okay. So you pull up, and I see purple, yellow, pink, translucent 5-gallon buckets. I see a corrosive symbol. It looks like. What are you doing?
You know, same thing. We're dealing with such small quantities. You know, first thing I'm doing, first to arriving engine company or whatever, I'm going to make sure it's not going off into any drains. You know, if it is, I might go down a manhole way from it and pop the drain and see if it's gone that far. Maybe dike it off somewhere, catch it between the drains. You know, defensive actions from an operational point. From a hazmat point, you know, the same thing. Bunker gear, SCB. You know, for that, I might put on splash protection just because I could get away with it, but you know, I would probably do splash protection and let them pH it, and if we need to, then we add some neutralization material.
Yeah. Once again, you're going to pick up a pattern here. I'm going to say very infrequently am I going to come off the rig with anything other than bunker gear and SCBA. For good reason. You know, because there's very few things that I might crack the door and go, oh crap, and close the door.
Right.
With this one?
Yeah, no. With this one, this is what I'm envisioning in my head. This is kind of a bunt, I think. I'm going to come up, bunker gear, flaps, hood, the collar, the whole thing, and I'm going to come up to this thing, and I'm going to, again, pH paper left and right, wet and dry, 5-gas meter, maybe the IMS. Well, I don't know if that's really going to help me. Let's see. I'm going to take the IMS. I'm going to take a PID, which is pretty much built into my 5-gas. And I'm going to take my single-gas chlorine, maybe because we have one. That's what I'm going to go with. And I'm going to be checking for that. As I get to a certain threshold, my action level, whatever it might be, I'm going to stop, drop some type of marking, back up. And I might do that going out and in, around the area, trying to set up a line. This is outside. I'm looking. Where was that picture again, Jay? Can I see that picture?
Yeah, let me throw it up here. All right.
Okay. So it's drums outside. It almost looks methodically dropped.
It almost looks like a training scenario.
Yeah, it looks very rehearsed. Ooh, all right.
How'd the buckets roll uphill?
All right,
I'm
looking at chlorine. Now this is going to be a bleach, right? This is what it was, bleach?
Yeah, they described it as a heavy-duty chlorine bleach detergent.
Well, I'm looking at this. Let's see. What's the solubility? 0.7%. That's terrible. All right. So 0.7% means that 0.7% of it, when dissolved in water, will dissolve. That's nothing. Soluble means that a good amount of it will. Let's talk about salt water. Right? If I have salt completely dissolved in water and I put it in the sun, I'm going to be left with salt crystals. Right? It separates itself. When I have my lovely, lovely scotch and water, and I leave that out in the sun, there is nothing left. That is missable. There's a difference. This thing being 0.7% soluble means that it is really not soluble. It will blend into water a little bit. So where I'm going with this is that if I was to take water and throw it on this, I'm not going to make hydrochloric acid. I'm going to move this acid into the storm drains. Does everybody agree with that?
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right? I'm using the water as a mobility device. Not as
I got to bug out, boys.
All right, see you, brother.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought we had a rug.
See ya.
There he goes, saving the world. Look at him. Saving the world. Good guy. So, water, I'm going to use water to dump it. And I'm probably going to get the ire of some people out there, but I think dumping it into the drain, it's chlorine. Dilution is a solution on this one.
I'm going to agree. I think. Let me ask you this question though. Are you? This might not be completely politically correct. My guess is guys are going to go up on this. They're going to go. You know what? It's 5-gallon buckets. I don't know that there's any. I'm not putting on an SCBA. I got this. I mean, is that the mentality? Are pH paper and all that necessary? I mean, I'm just speaking from, I get off the truck. Let's go right to the cab and find out what it is.
Because you know what, when you started saying that, I said, "There's the other side." And if Mike was on this, he'd say the other side. What if we just took 85-gallon drums and started dumping this crap in there with a level A suit on? Wrong, right? Probably more right. You know what I'm saying? Because you're not into this situation, but what are they doing downstream anyway in the water purification plants? They're putting chlorine in there.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's not, and it's a little bubbly, so you're starting to think maybe detergent anyway, right?
Right.
I see. I mean, from that picture, what I saw, that's where I'm like, I looked at that when I thought this was kind of the curveball. The right thing to do versus what we probably would do.
I don't have a problem with putting it into drums. The only problem I have is the possible reaction between the combination of chemicals. Some off-gassing and pressurizing the drums to the point of bloody.
So, hey, Bobby, say that again because Kosh was getting back on and his mic was bumping. So one more time because I think that's an important point to make.
What I was saying is if I was to go the level B, and I'm saying level B, because SCBA, outside operation, spill potential below the nipples. I'm going level B. I will not be going level A in this operation. It's a liquid, it's a hypochlorite, which means it's watered down. If it's gaseous chlorite, I got a problem. Hypochlorite means it's mixed with water. I am not going above a B. Okay? Everybody cool with that?
I absolutely am. I think you're outside. You look at the atmosphere. It's a nice day. It's not it's level B because the only thing you're worried about here is splash protection.
Splash. So I take this stuff. Let's say I throw it into an 85-gallon drum. Now I know immediately people go, well, it's corrosive to steel, and put a drum liner in it. Stop being a sissy. Okay. Put a drum liner in the freaking drum, or put a poly drum, and stop worrying about the little bits. I don't have to explain every little thing to you. I take this stuff and I put it in there. Now my concern is the off-gassing or the pressurization of that vessel. If it is not going to pressurize, then I'm done. I throw this crap in there. It's not reacting. It's not doing anything. It's a done deal. I walk away. Cool?
I agree. Yeah, absolutely.
And that's all with a B. I'm done. So that's all I got, maybe.
You know what I got? I got we're done. How about that?
I love that word.
We're done. All right. Bob, did you save anybody?
No.
Okay. Drum roll, Geraldo.
No. No, we got canceled.
Okay. I'm sure you're disappointed. Well, hey, I'm gonna kick off the closing here. We're gonna wrap this thing up. It wraps up another episode of the Haz Mat Guys Nation Roundtable. Please be sure to follow us on our Facebook pages at Haz Mat Nation and the Haz Mat Guys. Guys, let's go around the horn here and tell everybody where you can find us real quick, as if they don't already know. Kosh, how about you?
Bob Coscignano. You can find me at HZMTLT at Twitter, Haz Mat Nation, or HazSim.com.
Salvo.
Yes, you can find me at Bob at thehazmatguys.com. I was just doing that dramatically. That was really not necessary. We have a podcast that you can see all these things. In fact, PPE selection is the next 2 episodes coming out this Friday and next Friday, where we're really breaking down PPE selection and what you should do and not do when deciding this. That is going to be coming out this week, and you can find us on iTunes, Stitcher, and iHeartRadio. We just got picked up by. That is breaking news.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
You can contact us at any venue, and we will get back to you as soon as possible.
And just as a quick reminder for everybody, don't forget about the Firehouse Expo in Nashville. You're going to see a lot of our ugly mugs there. Perhaps, I don't know, maybe doing something with a house.
This one.
This ugly mug.
This one.
And that one over there.
Yeah.
Silly crap in a house, and you're invited. Because
we wish, yeah, you are invited.
If you want to see some weird crap go down, you're going to get a face full of it, because we are designing the most devious, ridiculous things out there that are totally commonplace. Is that too much?
I like it.
Ridiculous commonplace? Is that there he is.
There it is.
Yes, absolutely. And with our cohort, Phil, who is not here, a little under the weather. Hope you're feeling better, my friend. And Virginia Beach, if anybody's going to be at the Hazmat conferences, Virginia Beach, Jason and I will be there doing what we do. Got some good stuff happening there, and might even be hosting a little soiree.
We're going to be up in Massachusetts doing the Plymouth. Me and Mike, we're going to be speaking up there with Mike Komora and a bunch of other good lads up there with the roof. I don't know how to do their accent. It's so ridiculous. They make fun of my accent. I think they will.
You don't have an accent.
I don't. I don't.
The best was in Baltimore, where you got the guy from Boston and the guy from New York arguing at the same table. It was beautiful.
Good stuff. Good stuff.
All right. Well, I'm Jason Rogers. You can find me at hazmatnation.com or on Facebook at hazmatnation/Jason. A couple of things here. You see the awesome Hazmat Nation T-shirt. It was awesome. I'm going to do the same thing. This particular T-shirt right here, if you want it, go to hazmatnation.com and sign up for our alerts. The first person to sign up for those alerts, I will get your email. I will send you an email personally, and I will personally send you this T-shirt from hazmatnation.com, as well as some really cool Hazmat Guys brochures that you can use your QR code and take you right to the podcast to help your brothers out. So we'll see you Nashville and in Virginia and around the web next Tuesday night at 9:15, right? So thanks for listening and watching. Catch shows like this live on Google Hangouts, on air every Tuesday night at 21:15 EST, right, Eastern Standard Time, or on YouTube channel at THMGnation@gmail.com. All right, boys, we're out of here.